We got to grow up, and they're experienced with confidence, and we're not. And the other thing is we haven't won on the road. So all odds are against us this weekend. We're banged up. We're taking a first-year quarterback to Boone. They've got a sixth-year guy. We're going to a hostile environment, and we haven't played well on the road in those. So we got our hands full, and we're going to have to play great to have a chance to win. Questions? Yes.
You mentioned you threw a lot more to the tight ends than you have in the past. Is that something you guys did consciously this year, this game, knowing that you had to kind of give a little more leeway, a little more room for the wide receivers, given the youth in that group?
We're young at running back. We're young at wide receiver. The tight ends are really the older group. So we felt like that they're talented. They've been around for a while. John Lilly does a great job with tight ends, maybe as good as anybody in the country, and he brings his pro background into that group. So it's really helped our offense. I liked what I saw Saturday night on offense. I thought we spread the ball around. We had good balance with run and pass. We were about 300 yards each. I think we had 608 yards total offense. And getting those tight ends involved, because they're so involved in the running game and play action really helps them in the passing game, will help our offense.
After reviewing the film and talking with the staff, is there something that came out of this that you're very pleasantly surprised that you saw in the game that maybe you didn't see as much of during camp? And the flip side, is there a concern that maybe you thought you guys were a little bit better at it, but weren't so much Saturday night?
I was pleasantly surprised that Drake played as well as he did in the first game, because that's hard to do. And he's got some things he can fix. He would be the first to tell you that. But he made good decisions. He threw it to a lot of different people so he can see the field. His ability to run is something that people have not seen that we saw in practice. But the long run on the quarterback draw showed everybody he can run. And we've got to get him to get down and get out of bounds. I mean, he got to stay healthy. So we felt like all of that was good. I thought both young backs were really anxious early in the game, but they played well, so they got better as the game went on, and that was something we wanted to see. We didn't play Jonathan Adorno as much as we wanted to, so we'll need to play him more in rotation because he played well when he got in there. But I thought the offensive line did a good job. They had a lot of defensive changes, and we didn't know what they were going to do, and I thought they made good adjustments during the game. I thought our defensive line across the board and linebackers played well against the run. We've got to have more discipline on our drops. And if we get the discipline on our drops and we get the guys holding the ball a little longer, we were there. We'll get our sacks. So I thought the guys put pressure. We just couldn't get there. We'd never seen the Vanderbilt transfer play at quarterback. Even when they said last week that he was the starter, we couldn't believe it because the other guy was good and they won 9 games with him last year. So until we saw him walk out there on the field, we weren't sure, and he played great. He made throws with people in his face. And we had some misalignments on defense that we've got to work on, and I said that's a new staff with guys that hadn't worked together, and so I feel like they'll get better and better each week. Special teams, I thought were good. We did a good job for our first game for sure. Substitution wasn't a problem. We had a 24-yard return. We made all of our field goals. He kicked all the kickoffs out but one, and we averaged 49 yards a punt and covered him well. So I thought that the Larry Porter's transition and all the staff working so hard on special teams was good.
How do you approach the depth chart after a game like this, one game where who knows how much you take away from it? Do you change things around, or just kind of competition practice again?
Same thing exactly, Ross. We've told them it's every day. Some move up, some get more playing time because of the way they played, some will get less, and then we'll go back to work tomorrow. And we had about an hour practice yesterday because they're really sore, and you need to get all that soreness out and make them run, and you can see who is hurt in your mind and who's not. And then you come back and they have the day off today, and they'll do film study on their own, and then we'll go back tomorrow, and you really see tomorrow who's well enough to practice, because it's a rough game, and those guys bang on each other for 3 hours, and and some can handle being hit more than others. But we are doing the same thing every day. The guy that practices the best is going to play. And I thought the coaches, I asked the coaches to give me an estimation of how many plays each player would play during the game. And I'll go back over it in today's staff meeting with them, but they were pretty close. They did a good job of getting the guys in the game that they needed to.
How would you like that running back rotation to eventually get to, if not half day, a couple weeks from now?
I think we just got to see they're all good. You can see Elijah Green's good when he goes in the game at the end. And Caleb Hood didn't play a whole lot, but he's practiced less. So hopefully he's getting back to 100% and doing what he needs to do. By and large, and Phil can talk to you about it, I thought the two young backs did a good job with pass protection and things that are tough for them at an early age. And I said DJ really helped us because he could clean up and help when there was a guy that was free, and the other guys aren't quite ready to do that yet. So I don't know. It's I thought the young backs early kind of ran sideways, and after the game got going, they were more north and south, and obviously Omarion's a load. Larry said he was running into people early, trying to run over them, it looked like, and then he got relaxed and had fun and made some really good runs the second half. And the run that George made in the third, early fourth, whatever that was, early fourth quarter, I guess, was really special, and that shows how he is in open field. So it's a good question. I didn't think we got Kobe Paysauer in the game enough, so we'll get him more, obviously, as the year goes on, because he deserved more than he got. But when you got that many good backs, you got to figure out what each one of them does special, when they should be in the game, and not giving the game plan away with when he's in, they're going to do this, when he's in, they're doing this. So that's what we're trying to continue to figure out. We felt like it was really important to play those young backs in the opener to see what they could do and get them confidence before we headed to Boone the second week.
Mack, can you put in perspective how difficult or running back is an easier position to make a transition, but Omarion not being an early enrollee and having spring and being able to come in and do what he did?
Yeah, CL, he did an amazing job because he's had 20-something days of practice, and that's it. And George was here all spring, so it made it much easier for him. So we weren't sure how much we could do with Omarion early, and he's really responded well. He works really, really hard. He comes over to meet all the time, and he's studying because this is really important to him. He wants to play, and he wants to play good. Andre Green played about 26 plays, I think, and we want him to play more. And we didn't get him the ball, so he's another one that needs to continue to come. And sometimes, weirdly enough, in a limited package at running back, it's easier to play than wide receiver because you see so many different coverages and you've got so many different things to do. So that was a great learning experience for Andre as well.
Mack, will this be the first time we've been back to doing 4 games since you coached there?
Yes.
What do you remember about where that program was when you were there versus where it is now?
I had just left LSU, and I'd gone to Appalachian. I think I was maybe 32. I can't remember. I was in my early 30s. We didn't have demonstrators cars, so we had to use state cars, so we had to check them out. We were all teaching class, and instead of each coach teaching it, we all taught one class, and I think it was leadership in sports or something like that. At that time, we were struggling with a SID, we were struggling with an equipment manager, and we were struggling with a full-time trainer, so we got young people to do all those things for us, and it was fun. We had to learn. You could only have 33 out-of-state players on your team because of budget. So there were a lot of different things. I remember that they had all griped about training tables, so we opened up with Wake Forest, and I told the kids, we're going to do it right, man. You're going to have steak and what you're supposed to, and the chef got sick and didn't come in. We had hot dogs and hamburgers for pregame meal before we drove down to Winston-Salem to play. I think we stayed in our dorms and got in the bus and just drove down to play the next night. And I remember having a nightmare that we brought the wrong uniforms, and Wake Forest had to wear the other color because it was obviously my first time to be a head coach. So it was it was a special time. Excuse me. I love the place. We've had a house up there for 30 years. It's funny this weekend that all of my friends are pulling against us. They all want us to lose, all my mountain friends, and I don't like them this week either, so that's just part of it. But the program has grown so much, and it's in such a better place than it was when I went there, and I'm so proud of them. And they're one of the best programs in the country, and they're good at what they do. They're proud. Their crowds make a difference. Football is really important there, and I'm just proud of who they've become. They're really good. In fact, they're older, they're more experienced, they've won more than we have. Their program's ahead of where we are, and that's what we've got to get so we can get back to the 10 wins, and not many people are doing that across the country. So I'm really, really proud for them.
Just Mac, on that note, in terms of just your career in that period, it seems like there was just a lot going on. I mean, I think it was what, Iowa State, LSU, half for 1 year, a cup of coffee, then we're at Oklahoma right after that. Like, what, just in terms of your career, what do you remember about it? It seems like it was a lot of change, and I think you might have almost had the LSU job, right, when you were at App. They approached you about that, didn't they?
Yes, I actually talked to them and had a visit. The interesting thing is I love Appalachian State. I love the mountains of North Carolina and all it stands for, the golf and the fishing and the people, and it's just, it was my home for 6 months when I was doing TV. So it's a place that Sally and I absolutely love, and when we get through, it's a place we'll go stay. But I do remember when we were at App State, and I was loving it. It overloads you when you're in your early 30s, and there's so many things going on that are new for you in a program, and you're trying to figure all that out. And I remember I was making $38,500 as the head coach, and Oklahoma offered me $125,000. So I said, I'm not real smart, I can't count really well, but I think I need to go. And I didn't really want to go. I wanted to stay, but I also knew that Oklahoma was one of the best programs in the country, and that would be a great experience for me to go call plays and work with Barry Switzer and try to win a national championship. So I hated the day I left. I actually stayed there through 2 recruiting classes and 1 season only. So, and it was so funny, we went down to Wake Forest and we beat them in the opener. And I think they ran up down the field and we intercepted 2 passes and ran them back for touchdowns to win the game. So it's not like we dominated. And then we got back to Boone that night late, and there's a huge celebration, and the next week is Mack Brown Day, and James Madison came in with Gary Clark and Charles Haley, 2 of the best players to ever play, and we didn't have any idea who either one of them were, and they beat us like 28-24. So I got into this head coaching thing really quickly.